Alright, I am the biggest, most anxiety-ridden dork in the world. So you probably noticed by the setup here that I'm back on my Yamaha Raider, and that is because there is nothing wrong with the bike. At least not the problem that I thought there was. I mean, there's all kinds of cosmetic issues, but as far as functionality of the motor, everything's in tip-top shape. In fact, the tech said that he was very impressed with how good the condition is of the motor considering the number of miles on this bike. So those of you wondering what's a Yamaha Raider like at almost 113,000 miles, well, there's your answer. The motor's just fine. Will she start? I feel like that is a legitimate question to ask if I'm the one that's been wrenching. Let's give it a go. And I can't thank the folks at AB Power Sports in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I can't thank them enough for running that diagnostic, and they're just really cool people. You don't run into people like that very often. I called them to touch base before they ran the tests, and just told them that I wasn't 100% sure something was wrong, but I was just feeling anxious about it, and they said, yeah, no problem, we won't run the test, you can come pick it up if you'd like. Well, I made arrangements to pick up the bike the next day, but they had gone ahead and run the test for me anyway, and everything's in the green, everything's clear. So just want to thank those guys for doing that. They didn't have to do that, they didn't charge me a dime, and I just thought that was really cool. And I don't have a lot of skills to offer the world, or don't really do a lot of humanitarian efforts or anything like that, but I do feel like giving back in small little ways when I can. So I wanted to do something for them to put a little smile on their face, and I think it's time to cut away to the nerdy maker montage. Whoop. S129 tail of the dragon. 3-dimensional slab of land. You can see the road highlighted there. The big thick black area is the river, but the squiggly thin black line, that's the highway. That's it. So I'm going to take this over to the folks over at AB Power Sports just as a thank you for what they did for me on testing out my bike, and hopefully they'll like it. So here we go. Well, that was most unfortunate. I stopped by the house and looked at the footage. Even though the GoPro was running and it appeared to be recording, the file while I was in AB Power Sports, it didn't record anything. It has a really tiny file size and the screen says unable to view when I look through the GoPro app on the phone and also on the back of the camera. So that's a bit of a loss. I wish you guys could have seen the reveal when I gave them the map. They really loved it, or at least they pretended to. And I love that they called me out on my anxiety. Because when I took the bike into them, they had a paper form you had to fill out listing some problems of why you're bringing the bike in. I listed the main problem, which was that oily residue coming out of the breather hose. But I also listed off a ton of other things that I didn't want them to feel like they had to mess with. So I basically wrote a novel. And when I went back in to give them the map, they called me out on it. Because Allison, when she told Bill I was coming in, she goes, "Yeah, you remember the really anxious guy who wrote a novel on the forum?" It's true, man. I'm a neurotic mess. A neurotic mess. Anyway, I guess that's gonna wrap this one up. The gist of it is, hey, I am back on my Raider and I'm ready to roll. Riding season is back. The Raider's running in good shape. We've got really good weather. So plan on putting in some miles and hopefully getting a little more frequent with my uploads. Right now, even though I was aiming for once a week, it looks like I'm hitting about once every 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to ramp that up a little bit. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching and riding along. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit a like on this video and hit the little bell icon so that you know when I've uploaded new content. Thanks again for coming along, and I'll see you next time.